Ladies and gentlemen, it is 6:15 p.m. Central Time, July 29th, 2025. By
Ooh,
the time you guys are going to watch this, it's going to be a few weeks out because I spent 2 weeks back to back forgetting to post anything on our freaking channel. So yeah, you guys are going to watch a couple with zero explanation, and then you're going to hear this, and you're going to understand what happened. I just totally forgot, and that's
I-
going to happen sometimes. But that doesn't matter so much, and the reason why,
we
and
have
this always is,
philosophy.
damn straight. We have philosophy.
And bears are very forgiving. Come to the forest.
Yeah, I'm feeling like a honeypot right now. Not in a weird, creepy way. Um, all right, Smokey, how you doing?
I'm doing great.
Good. I'm so glad to hear it. What are we covering right now? Let's jump right into it. I'm excited.
We're still talking about quantities. We're still talking about this concept of so we were talking about, what is material, and now we're going to and in the last video we sort of introduced the concept of quantity, and we talked about how you can think of quantities as either discrete or continuous. And we're going to break that down a little bit further, and then yeah, that's all we're going to do tonight.
Great. Let's do it.
All
Let's
right.
jump right in. Let's knock it out.
So, if you'll recall, there's two types of quantities. There is the discrete, which is what most people call whole numbers now, and there
Hmm.
is continuous, and that's, you use a tape measure or thermometer or ruler or something, and it's continuous.
Hmm.
That's a very important concept to keep in mind. So, here we go. Thus, go with the lesson. Quantities have no contraries. In the case of definite quantities or discrete quantities, this is obvious. Thus, there is nothing that is the contrary of 2 cubits long, or of 3 cubits long, or of a surface, or of any such quantities. And surface, he's really talking about a plane. So that's geometry. A man might indeed argue that much was the contrary of little, and great of small. But these are not quantitative, but relative. Now, who's the famous person who came up with the concept of relative that everybody thinks he came up with it?
Oh, of relativity?
Yeah.
I believe was it Harvey Weinstein? It was a Steen. Epstein? Oh, no, that's right. No, no. It was motherfucking Einstein.
Einstein.
Yeah.
So everybody thinks, ooh, Einstein, relativity, everything's relative. No, 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 no. This idea goes way back. Things are not great or small absolutely. They are so called rather as the result of an act of comparison, not a quantity, a comparison. For instance, a mountain is called small, a grain large, in virtue of the fact that the latter is greater than others of its kind and the former less. So you can sit there and look at a mountain and call that small. Why? Because it's in front of a mountain called Mount Everest. You can look at a piece of grain and say it's large. Why? Because it's a piece of brown rice sitting next to a piece of white rice.
No, or another thing is like if somebody were describing like telling a story, and then they said, that we were at the base of a large mountain, um, automatically we start putting that into perspective to mountains that we're familiar with, and we must be larger than that.
Yes,
Because if we weren't, then it would just be a redundant term. We would just call it a mountain because we know
yes,
it's larger than us, right?
yes.
Okay.
Thus, there is a reference here to an external standard. For if the terms great and small were used absolutely, a mountain would never be called small or a grain large. Again, we say that there are many people in a village and few in Athens, although those in the city are many times as numerous as those in the village. Or we say that a house has many in it and a theater few, though those in the theater far outnumber those in the house. So you stop and think, if I walk into a theater and it seats 2,500 people, but there's only 1,000 people in there, you'd say it's not a big crowd. But if you've got a 900 square foot house and you put 10 people in the house, that house starts feeling kind of full.
So yeah, so he's extending it not only to like at first he's saying, it's relative to the contemporaries,
Yes.
but now he's saying also it's relative to the expectation.
Yes.
Okay.
The terms 2 cubits long, 3 cubits long, and so on indicate quantity. The terms great and small indicate relation, for they have reference to an external standard. It is therefore plain that these are to be classed as relative. So great isn't a quantity,
Right.
it's a relativity.
Right.
Again, whether we define them as quantitative or not, they have no contraries. For how can there be a contrary of an attribute which is not to be apprehended in or by itself, but only by reference to something external? Again, if great and small are contraries, it will come about that the same subject can admit contrary qualities, not quantities, qualities at one and the same time, and that things will themselves be contrary to themselves. For it happens at times that the same thing is both small and great. For the same thing may be small in comparison with one thing and great in comparison with another, so that the same thing comes to be both small and great at one and the same time, and is of such a nature as to admit contrary qualities at one and the same moment. Yet it was agreed when substance was being discussed that nothing admits contrary qualities at one and the same moment. For though substance is capable of admitting contrary qualities, yet no one is at the same time both sick and healthy. Nothing is at the same time both black and white. Nor is there anything which is qualified in contrary ways at one and the same time. So he's getting a little, right? You got to be careful because he shifted from quantities to qualities.
So what I see, and I might be jumping ahead, so don't stop me, but tell me if I am when I'm done. What I see is I see that he's identifying the difference between relativity and absolutism. And
Yes,
when you start putting those two together so that they have an engagement with each other, you're going to find paradoxes.
yes,
And he's identifying how there's a paradox of, okay, well, something can be both great and small at the same time. And that's in the relativity realm. But then when
yes,
you shift over to absolutism, then it's going to be some type of measure. And if something else is a different measure, that doesn't mean that they're opposite of one another.
yes.
Okay.
Simple, right? Simple
Oh,
idea.
I get it, but
Moreover, if these were contraries, they would themselves be contrary to themselves. For if great is the contrary of small, and the same thing is both great and small at the same time, then small or great is the contrary of itself. But
whoa.
yeah, but this is
Oh,
impossible.
okay, that's helpful. Yeah.
The term great, therefore, is not the contrary of the term small, nor much of little. And even though a man should call these terms not relative, but quantitative, they would not have contraries. So,
Let's back
for
up.
example, is 4 greater than 3?
Well, no. Well, yeah, yes, sorry. Yes.
But is it more accurate to say it's just different? It's a
Uh,
different quantity.
it's more accurate to say. Yeah. Yeah, it is.
Because as soon as you say 4 is greater than 3, how are you making that determination?
Arbitrarily at the end of the
Nope,
day.
nope, nope. You're comparing it to something. What are you comparing it to?
Wait, well, you're comparing 4 to 3.
Nope.
I don't know.
You're
What are you
comparing it
comparing?
to 0.
Oh, that it's all relative to 0.
3 is 3 units from 0. 4 is 4 units from 0. 4 is more than 3.
Yeah, I understand. Um, that phrasing though makes it, feel like
The
you're
only
like
way
shifting.
you can make a claim about great or less is to have something to make it relative against. Otherwise, it just means three and it just means four.
Sure.
You can't, you're not saying four is greater than three. You're just simply saying four is a different quantity than three.
No, I understand that. When, but going back when he says, so if he's okay, moreover, if these, are we going to continue or are we stopping here?
No, no, no. We're going to keep going.
Well, let's keep going and we'll swing back around to this.
All right. So it is in the case of space that quantity most plausibly appears to admit a contrary. For men define the term above as the contrary of below, when it is the region at the center they mean by below. And this is so because nothing is farther from the extremities of the universe than the region at the center. Indeed, it seems that in defining contraries of every kind, men have recourse to a spatial metaphor, for they say that those things are contraries which, within the same class, are separated by the greatest possible distance. So, for example, if you say you are at 2,000 feet and I say I am at 1,000 feet, what does that mean that you are higher than me?
Yes,
But what if I say you're at 2,000, but that 2,000 and that 1,000 is compared to what?
the ground.
Ah, no, not the ground.
Oh, you're not saying,
We don't measure altitude,
oh, okay. Yeah, the sea then.
the
Yeah, I see.
sea.
Oh,
All right,
yes.
but now I left out a key point.
Okay.
You're 2,000 feet below the water, and I'm 1,000 feet above the water. So then the question becomes, are you higher than me
Well, no, in that case, no.
relative to sea level? Now,
Right.
but are you further than me?
From sea level, yes. Yeah.
Does that make sense? And so that's why he's saying using numbers, quantifying things can get tricky.
Yeah, no, I'm digging into like the deepest recesses of my memory, and the earliest example that I can think of contrary in this terminology would be the North Pole and the South Pole. And that, when I remember being very young and trying to understand like the concept of the of opposites,
Right.
which when you're a kid is like, kind of a huge light bulb moment when you think of.
Sure.
And the earliest example that I could think of that somebody gave me was that the North Pole is the opposite of the South Pole, which is not true. It's not, the North
Nope.
Pole is not contrary to the South Pole. So now I'm trying to figure out because the earlier paragraph and continuing on from here, I'm still confused.
But you
I'm trying
used
to figure out if it's just
space.
because, well, yeah, I'm trying to figure out if it's just because I was indoctrinated to think in this way, or if there's something that I'm actually missing. Um,
Ooh, that's a good question.
I don't know yet. I'm trying to figure it out. Are we? Do we keep going here?
We're going to keep going.
All right, let's keep pushing. Let's go.
Quantity does not, it appear, admit variation of degree. Now, these are things that he was talking about earlier, right?
Yeah,
One thing cannot be 2 cubits long in a greater degree than another.
yeah,
Similarly, with regard to number. What is three is not more truly three than what is five.
yeah.
Nor is one set of three more truly three than another set.
Right.
Again, one period of time is not said to be more fully or truly time than another period. Nor is there any kind of quantity of all that have been mentioned with regard to which variation of degree can be predicated. The category of quantity, therefore, does not admit the variation of degree. Make sense?
Yeah.
The most distinctive mark of quantity is that equality and inequality are predicated of it. Each of the aforesaid quantities is said to be equal or unequal. So I can only truly say that 3 equals 3, but 3 does not equal 4. For instance, one solid is said to be equal or unequal to another. Number, 2, and time can have these terms applied to them. Indeed, can all those kinds of quantity that have been measured. That which is not a quantity can by no means, it would seem, be termed equal or unequal to anything else. One particular disposition or one particular quality, such as whiteness, is by no means compared with another in terms of equality and inequality, but rather in terms of similarity. Thus, it is the distinctive mark of quantity that it can be called equal and unequal.
Wow.
Thus endeth the reading. And if we had another 6 hours, we would have an exegesis on uh, race, but we're not going to get into that discussion.
Okay. That's fair. Um,
The key point to take from
sure.
this is that quantity is just a way of measuring something or describing something. But that thing itself is what it is. So, and I'm going to show you here in just a second what I'm talking about. Are you want to see,
Well,
or do
real
you have?
quick, tell me, maybe I'm losing the plot here. I might be losing the plot here. This one was a real mind fuck.
It is.
Is he saying that quantity actually falls under the category of quality?
No,
It follows the rules of substance?
no. He's
Okay.
saying people have a tendency to do that.
God damn it. Okay, hold on. Fuck. Hold on. Damn, I don't know about you.
That
Well, I'm sure this happened to you, but like when you explain something to somebody and then like I think I get it, and then what they tell you is what everybody like they're like what you're saying is, and then they say the exact thing that you're trying to get them out of.
yes,
I just did that. So
yes, you
bear with me.
did.
Hold on. Okay, so quantity is substantive.
Yes. Well, it
Okay.
is used to describe a substance.
Right. In language, it's used to describe substance. Um, and he's saying that no quantity can be
It can't.
um,
There are no contraries and there are no degrees.
right. And that goes both in the case of the absolute quantity and then the qualitative, like relative measure that we
No, the
compare to
relative
substance.
is where you get into the quality of the quantity.
Right. Right. That's where you start. Right. Exactly. Yes.
And
And
that's the mistake people make.
right. So even in the realm of the relativity, great is still not contrary to small.
Right. Because it's not a quantity, it's a quality.
Okay.
In
Okay.
in the world of business, we have the law of diminishing returns. Are you familiar with this concept?
Of diminishing returns?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm relatively familiar.
Okay, so you like the example that I was given many years ago. Do you like to go to Dairy Queen and get a blizzard?
Yes.
If I said to you, I'm going to give you a blizzard for $1,
Okay.
but you have to eat the blizzard,
Yeah.
would you eat the blizzard?
Sure.
I'm going to sell it to you, but you got to eat it. Okay. Now, you get finished eating that blizzard, and I say, I'm going to sell you another blizzard, but this time I'm only going to charge you 90 cents. But you can only do it if you eat the blizzard.
Okay.
Would you do it?
No.
Why? Isn't two better than one? And you're getting a deal on the price.
True, but my like need for the my demands for the Blizzard has diminished way more than it being worth 90 cents.
And none of that is related to quantity.
Okay.
It is related to our perception of the relative nature of quantity.
Yes. No, I get that.
He's saying a quantity by itself is highly objective.
A quantity by itself is highly objective. Okay. The quality that we place on that quantity is as subjective as the quantity itself is objective.
Yo, that's a wonderful way of saying it.
Okay, so this is where I'm starting to get mind fucked. From here, if someone places the quality on the quantity, then we know that they're placing it relative to some type of baseline.
Yeah, it's got to be something external to the conversation we're having.
And the baseline is only a baseline because they decided that it was a baseline.
Yes,
So if
which
they
is
have,
subjective.
so if they boundaried a scale from two baselines, right?
Yes.
Then relative to that person's perspective, those baselines would be opposite or contrary from one another,
Yes.
relatively.
Yes.
But quantitatively, when we're evaluating this from a third party perspective, we can't view it as opposite from one another because in absolute terms, they're just different
They're
and
just two different,
unequal
yeah, they're just two different values.
that are unequal. Okay.
One of the things that
Okay.
I struggled with when I was younger, and that
Yeah.
I see new graduate students and researchers struggle with is, and then this is a phrase many people have used, let the numbers speak for themselves. Let the
Yeah.
data speak for itself.
Yeah. I think
Well,
my dad said that.
I'm an old bear. I've seen a lot of numbers, and I've never seen one stand up and speak.
I was about to say, yeah. Yeah. You have to do the speaking for it.
You have to do the speaking for it. And in doing so, you are interpreting things. And when you interpret things, you leave the quantity and you move into the realm of perception.
Yeah. Okay, so the quantity and the quality of the quantity are two completely different things, but we cannot separate the one from the other, which is the beginning of Kant, actually.
Ah,
Jesus Christ.
don't you jump ahead.
But that's true. This is crazy.
Yes.
This is insane. Okay. All right. Okay.
Does this make sense?
It does make sense. Okay. Fuck.
Would you like to see some slides?
Yeah, let's look at some models.
Okay.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
It's so simple.
Yeah, there's just like six like groundbreaking things that are just in that what we just read. That's so stupid.
So he starts by saying, you got quantity and contraries. I can look at these two things. Well, what do you see?
I see two boxes and
So you see two boxes.
sure.
That's
Yeah.
the quantity.
Yes. Yeah,
Are,
yeah, actually that is the quantity. Yeah.
are they contrary?
No.
No, because, well, you'll have to take my word for it, but the dimensions are the same. But
Oh,
what are
it's a
they?
scale? That's crazy.
Yes, relative to the center, the dimensions are the same. In other
Damn.
words, if I take this box right here
Yeah.
and I take all of the measures and I put it over all of the same measures over here, it equals to 1.
That's crazy.
It's just two boxes.
Yeah.
But if I want to introduce the idea of contraries, so I really can't say anything about how they are contrary to one another. But what I can do is introduce a box in the middle.
And this is Archimedes with the fulcrum. The box in the middle is the fulcrum.
Oh, really? I
Okay.
thought he's the one who came up with that idea, and
No, no, this is okay. God damn it. Okay. Oh my God. Okay.
so the reality is, if I say this is a box and
Yeah.
this is a box,
Yeah.
I have two boxes,
Yeah.
but and that's the quantity. But if I want to say that this box is bigger than this box, I'm only saying that it's bigger in relation to this standard.
Yes. I understand. Yeah.
Furthermore, I can say that this box is above this box,
Right.
but it's not. It's actually above this line that this box is below.
Right.
And then finally, if I use the number three, which of these is not three?
All of them, but the number? Maybe.
Oh, that's a great answer. That
Is
is
that
a
not what you're
great
looking for?
answer. All of them, but the number three
No.
is three.
Yeah.
Why? Now tell me why. Because this we hadn't gotten to it yet. See, I was setting us up, but you are too smart for this, Bear. Why is the number three the only thing on this that is not three?
Well, so there's three in quantity of each of the other things. The stars, the rocks, the fingers, the stooges, and the oranges. I think those are oranges. Um, the number three is a single mark of the number three.
Yes.
Yeah. So the quantity of the what would you call it? The symbol itself is one in quantity.
Yes. Because believe it or not, some people use a different symbol to indicate three.
Sure, you could do three. You could have done three tallies.
I could have done
Um,
three. I could have given you the number three in a different language.
well, in ancient Greek, it would have been the letter. So,
In in
gamma.
in Japanese, it's I believe three vertical lines that descend in length. I don't know when I'd have to look it up. It's been so long since I looked at Japanese numbers, but depending on the culture you're in, the symbol looks completely different.
Right.
But you're right. We've got Orion's belt over here. Three stars. And the smart kid in the classroom always goes, no, there's billions of stars. No, no, no. Look at Orion's belt. It's Orion's belt. Give me a
Yeah.
break.
No, it's fine.
Don't make the bear angry. That's three stars. We got
Yeah.
three rocks. We got three fingers. We got three stooges. And we got three oranges.
Yeah.
Are they all equal?
Fuck. I don't know. Yeah, in quantity they're
In
equal.
terms of quantity,
Yeah.
they're all equal.
I would say that there's an equal quantity of each of the things that,
Yes.
yeah. Yeah.
Does this and this is you're right. You immediately started to go, well, it depends on
Yeah.
if you talk in terms of how much space it takes up, obviously the three stars are bigger than the three rocks.
Or
If
like in
we
value, like
yeah,
you could argue, well, it's like actually it's so funny. I bet you that if you were to ask somebody, are they all equal in value? And they would say no. And you say, well, okay, well, what's the most valuable? The first thing that they would start to say is Orion's belt because it looks so pretty and the stars are so cool, whatever. And they're like, well, wait a second, there's three humans there. Like probably those three people are probably more valuable than
but
the stars. Yeah.
yeah, that's quality. That's not quantity.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. Yep.
And
Damn.
and he's sitting here saying at the end of this section, hey, we've gotten to the end of section one. He's saying at the end of this section, if I'm looking at a substance, I can assign a quantity to it, but that quantity in of itself has no value.
Value. Yeah, because value is a quality.
Yes.
And we assign a quality, which is why we assign value.
Yes.
So nobody, if there's nobody there to assign that value, then the value is not there.
Yes.
Got it. Okay. Yep.
Why are three rocks stacked on top of each other? Why is that less than three rubies, three diamonds, three emeralds?
Because we choose for it to be.
Because we choose for it to be. It's
Yep.
still equal in terms of quantity.
Right.
Well, as I said, that's quantity.
What a mind fuck, man. Oh my God. Yeah. This is going to be like some ironing out that I'll have to do about my whole relationship with what contrary means. And in modern like language, would opposite be synonymous with his use of contrary here?
That's a good question. I honestly don't know the answer to that question, and I would hesitate to take anybody else's word for it one way or the other.
Yeah, because they probably conflate the two. And I don't mean like for the listeners, I'm not talking about like the official definition of it. I mean like when somebody says, X, like X is as opposite from Y, do they actually mean when they say opposite, are they using it in a way that Aristotle would be using contrary here? Um, and I think the answer would be yes, because X would be opposite of Y relative to like the plus sign. They're on opposite sides of one another, right?
Certainly. But
And then I was
he's,
also going,
but remember, he's saying you can only say they're either equal or unequal.
that's what he's saying, right? When he says that they're not contrary, he would say, no, X is not opposite or contrary from Y.
It's
Like
just not equal to Y.
yeah, exactly. It's unequal to Y. And go back to the slide, the previous slide.
Certainly. Oops.
Not there, one below. Yeah. So uh something else that had occurred to me is that a really great way for like for me to try to wrap my mind around this is thinking about like space, right? Like space, like outer space. So if one might say that the North Pole is above the South Pole, and relative to any two-dimensional map, or most two-dimensional maps, that's going to be true. And relative to our understanding of North and South and everything, that is also true, right?
Yeah.
But I don't know much about like I guess you could say landmarks in space, but I don't think anybody says that the Andromeda galaxy is above or below anything else
No,
it's not above or below our galaxy
no.
or it's just a certain distance from it. Or
Yes.
if somebody says that in orbit, I'm sure that the like relative to the sun, if you draw like a plane
Okay.
from the sun, from the center of the sun, I seriously doubt all the planets are in a line with each other, right? But we don't say that they're above or below them. They're just, you know what I mean?
Yeah, they don't
There's no
even go around
altitude.
the sun on the same plane.
Wait, say that one more time.
They do not go around the sun on the same plane.
Right, it's different spherical planes, and like they're not even necessarily spheres. So, like the whole concept of above or below is just going to be relative to ourselves at the end of the day.
Which is how most people see the world.
It's so crazy how like it took so long to get from here to Cartesian type stuff when like it's really just like it's right up against it. Like it's already like implying it. You know what I
But
mean?
yes,
Like
but can you see how you got to Cartesian from reading this?
yeah, for sure. Yeah, once you get to this idea of like of the difference between absolutism and relativity, um, which I didn't even know that they were playing with at this time, like in antiquity, because it's like right there, like it's right in front of you to start getting into like when you take that and then you add deconstruction, basically you have like all post-Cartesian thought, and it's crazy
Yes.
that it took that long to get there.
But here's the thing. We were
Yeah.
doing other things as well. And seeing the world through the lens of categories is not the only way to see the world.
No, and that's what I'm saying is that like it's not it's helping elucidate just how difficult it is to think of a new thing or to even have like a novel perspective on the same thing.
Yes.
Not that it's like, oh wow, humanity's dumb or something like that. Like no, like there's a lot of very highly intelligent people that have dedicated their lives to trying to study this lens and this methodology and work from it. And even though I always thought that there would be like 1 or 2 degrees in between Aristotle and, let's say, Kant, but there isn't. It's
Yep.
actually right up against each other.
Yep.
Like they're touching each other, like almost in a way. Um, you could finish what we just read and then start reading some stuff written by guys in the 1700s, and it would flow almost perfectly,
Yes.
which tells me how difficult it is to even take a step back and say, hey, here's a different vantage point here.
Well,
Holy
there is
shit.
a reason why I believe this has been attributed to Aristotle. Aristotle was born, he thought, and he died.
Okay.
And it's that simple.
Sure.
I'm trying to remember who supposedly said it, but that's something that has been said, I believe, about Aristotle. He was a man. He was
It
born,
sounds, yeah,
he thought, he died.
it sounds like Shakespeare, honestly. Um, damn, dude, what a great presentation.
Oh, well, thank you.
Yeah. Good job, Smokey. Everybody, please, please, please accept my apologies for being for not posting anything for a couple weeks. But yeah, you're going to be seeing this in a couple weeks from now. Actually, you know what? You should be seeing it next week because I'm double posting this week. So you should be seeing more stuff coming up tonight, and then another one on Thursday, and then this will be coming out next week from today. Uh, yeah. Smokey, you have anything you want to share with the people before we get out of here?
Um, don't forget to tip your waiters and waitresses.
You stupid son of a bitch. Like and subscribe. I don't care who you tip, okay? Like and subscribe. That's what you're supposed to say. All right. Yeah. Well, I guess we'll go on and call it a night.
All right, I'm
See you.
going back to the forest.
Bye.
Bye.